Well, it's been quite a long time since we've seen any possibilities of winter weather or precipitation. I have not actually tracked any actual winter weather precipitation happening in my near vicinity since March. So, I've been looking over some analog data from CIPS, and I'm trying to match the analog data with what the models are showing. And overall, I believe that the end result of these models will be colder than their first original thinking or their current original thinking right now. Right now, what you're looking at is a freezing rain at hour 120, exceeding 1 or more hours of the presentation of falling freezing rain. And the probabilities are actually quite high in southern New England, parts of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York State. And what kind of concerns me is even if we go exceeding 3 hours or more, we're still pretty high. Southern New England, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. And then this really caught me. Not that much has changed even in the 6-hour totals of how long it's going to last for our freezing rain to accumulate. So I'm taking this into consideration as a red flag warning that these models may have potentially in some areas much more significant ice accretions or the accumulation in hours. So I'm definitely taking that into consideration, and keep in mind that this is analog data from the GFS model, and there's also one for the NAM. There's no analog data for any other models, unfortunately, but don't be surprised if some coastal regions pick up, say, more snow, even more rain, more, freezing rain, sleet, graupel, according to this our 120 unified precipitation data set in inches. There's a little bullseye going on around New Jersey, southern New England area. I would keep definitely an eye on for some overperformance with this upcoming system. And then over here you see the probability of 8 inches or more in northern New England at 60% is a decent, chance. And for 6 inches it's close to 100 with 80. And with 4 inches or more, it's 90. Once we go down to 2 inches, now we're starting to push into New Jersey, though it's fairly low, around 30%. And now we also have our mean snowfall accumulation. And 2 inches is not out of the question going towards New York City even. I wouldn't put that past it, but I think that, northern New England is probably going to do very well with this storm, especially Vermont, New Hampshire, and New York State. There's the possibility of some lake effect enhancement right around Copenhagen, Oswego. So you want to keep an eye on that, of course. For our precipitable water total relative is that I think there's going to be an increase in moisture count, snowfall-wise, rainfall-wise, precip-wise. You see a bulge of precip, kind of working its way north, all right? And there's a possibility on the western fringe that it could downplay, according to the analog data set that I am looking at right now. If we look at our 850 millibar temps, there are signs that the GFS can trend further south with that 850 millibar parameter. And if we look over to our 32 Fahrenheit parameter, there is a possibility of it trending again further south as the final outcome. 500 millibar is telling me that the high pressure placement may anchor itself further west or west northwest or west southwest or southwest, as you have, more of the high pressure bulging up north over here while further digging trough down south. This is what that's telling me as well. And high pressure has to be somewhere around here on the GFS. I think it's going to be the final result. Now, I want to caution very carefully that if it indeed parks itself around here where this analog data set is at 198.32.406 area, you're going to have the possibility of an overperforming icing event in many areas. So keep that in mind, of course. The overall mesodomain is that the 32, temperature at hour 120, and this is going for your 850s, can be south of central New Jersey, which would indicate more icing going on. All right. So this also includes sleet and whatnot. This would lower the freezing rain chances, but in terms of like sleet and stuff, that does increase it. But the overall trend on these analogs is colder, and I want to keep that critical. If we look at the 2 meter temperatures, all right, You follow the contour lines. I think the concentration of the best chance of an ice storm or a significant ice accumulation is north over here. Central Pennsylvania, I'm very worried about. Northwestern New Jersey. Orographic list zones are up in this part over here, going to Massachusetts, away from southeastern New England. All have to keep a close eye on this. And I think that, looking at this over here, the high pressure placement could be very ideal for many areas in New England, for sure. Especially southern New England. This would be so beneficial for you guys if you're looking for snow or ice. And you can see the contours just spewing its way down like this with the flow. So keep an eye in northeastern PA and then the New Jersey area, of course. This is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and the possibility of being around that threshold is around pretty much 100 in New England. I think that your parameters of a potential significant increase in ice accretions stop at where this line stops right over here. So to keep that in mind, of course. And freezing rain accumulations in exceeding within 48 hours in the 1 hour, what I was explaining before, is the same thing. What I want to go to real quick, I basically just repeated, that part over there, but I made a PowerPoint last time because of the polar vortex. I'm not going to do it this time because my computer's running a little bit faster. My computer loves to chew on some CPU and RAM because I run so many things in the background all the time. I was explaining over here that the Canadian, has a high pressure a little bit further north and west. When you see the ridge axis over here bulge up like this high pressure may push like that with this axis cutting like this. It sounds confusing what I'm explaining, but that's right there, the depiction I'm speaking about. And on the Ural, you can actually pick up on the cold air damming needle how it's, protruding from Long Island, New Jersey, New York State. But what I really want to take focus on is the GFS and how powerful the ridge axis is, being taken into consideration here. Further north and west, this high pressure would have to come with it. Okay? It has to come with it. It makes sense. The overall trend of the GFS in the past several runs has brought it from here back over to Maine. And you can see you have the protrusion going right into New Jersey. Just scroll through all of this real quick. I'll go back over to my ice accretion, parameters in terms of the possibility of an icing event. I may have to push this further south if models bend towards analog ideas, and then I would then have areas, I'll make an outline real quick, but my concern would all then shift down, I would say, like, something like that, okay? New York City would be just on the fringe of it. My house is, I live around that area over there. So keep an eye around the 29th of December, around the New Year's period, there's a potential of an icing event. That's pretty much it. All I wanted was to talk about that. People know the pattern change is coming. I've mentioned this many times before, and I'm not going to repeat myself. So we have our first pattern changing storm, our Texas Panhandle monster, I'm going to call it. Panhandle, Texas may get 1 to 2 feet of snow. Not out of the question. This storm is going to flip our pattern. And the pattern flip will fully come into its phase around the second full week of January. Alright? That is it. I am out now.